It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Let me tell you about what I call the Voldemort Effect and why parents like me can't find information out about our own children. In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Dumbledore tells Professor McGonagall, "Fear of a name increases fear of the thing itself." Everyone in the wizarding world is so terrified of Voldemort they won't say his name out loud. They call him you-know-who or you must not be named. Not saying Voldemort's name didn't make him go away. It just means nobody can talk about him directly. Nobody can organize against him. Nobody can share information about how to fight him. That's exactly what's happening with psychopathy in children. Hi, my name is Lilith Quillen. I'm the founder of Parents of Children with Conduct Disorder. I've been supporting parents like me since 2014. Like any human being, I wear multiple hats. Mom, public persona, researcher, person with disabilities, but the very first identity I ever wore was that of nerd. So bear with me for a moment while I nerd out and dig into this Harry Potter analogy. Remember in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire when Harry has to navigate that huge maze for the Triwizard Tournament? He's stumbling around in the dark, running into dead ends, getting attacked by creatures, and even getting attacked by the maze itself. He's completely lost. The whole time, the trophy he needs is somewhere in there, but he has no idea where, and he didn't even sign up for all this violence to begin with. That's what it's like trying to find information about psychopathy in children. You're wandering in this massive maze of terminology. Every path you take seems like it might be right, but it leads to a dead end. You try another path, another dead end. You're getting attacked from all sides. Your child's behavior, the system, everyone's telling you it's your fault. Somehow at the end of it, you end up standing there with Cedric Diggory's body in your arms, asking how the hell you got here. The whole time, the information you desperately need exists somewhere, but nobody will tell you where to look, because nobody will say the name. When my son was diagnosed with conduct disorder, I thought, great, now I know what to look for. I can find the support groups and other parents. I can find out information about what we're dealing with. Easy peasy, right? Just look up conduct disorder support groups. Except there weren't any. So I started calling experts, anyone who'd published research on conduct disorder, antisocial personality disorder, sociopathy. If you used any of those words in your research, I picked up the phone and I called you. Every single one of them said the same thing. Oh, that's a really good question. That's always the first thing parents ask me. If you ever find any support groups, let me know. Not one of them said the word psychopathy. Not one. Early on, I thought the word I wanted was sociopath. I thought this meant like psychopath light, like not serial killer violent. Now, I'm going to throw on my linguist lobbyist hat. Oh my God, linguist hobbyist hat in addition to my nerd hat. I love etymology, which is just a fancy way of saying the origins of a word. In the word sociopathy, socio means society. Sociopathy means society made a person like that. Real world examples of this include things like child soldiers and people who grow up in gangs and cartels. Remember, socio equals society. A really easy way to remember that is Monty Python's Dead Bishop sketch. The church police pray to God to tell them who killed the bishop. The literal hand of God comes down from the sky and points to the culprit. The police start heading toward the killer, who says, "It's a fair cop, but society is to blame." The police go, "Oh, right, we'll arrest them instead." And then they proceed to arrest everyone on stage except the murderer. If you ever have any trouble remembering the difference between sociopathy and psychopathy, remember that sketch, which is, by the way, very much how it feels to be a parent like me. Everyone except the person hurting people is held to account, while the person actually hurting people suffers zero consequences. Like other people with psychopathy, my son came out this way. Society didn't make him violent. He was violent from 8 months old. Society didn't teach a toddler to headbutt his mother, nor did society tell me what I was dealing with. Even after his conduct disorder diagnosis as a teenager, I still spent 2 years researching the wrong thing. 2 years. Then I read The Psychopath Whisperer by Dr. Kent Keel. Everything clicked. Every single thing I'd been experiencing, every behavior, every pattern, it was all in there. That's when I realized the word I needed was psychopathy. That's what I should have been searching for all along. Here's one of the questions that keeps me up at night. How are parents supposed to handle kids with psychopathy when no one will even tell us they exist? Everyone's so terrified of the P word that they won't even say it out loud. They use different terminology at every stage of life. They pretty it up, they whitewash it, they make it so vague it's meaningless. Parents like me are left wandering in the dark in that goblet of fire maze for years, unsure how to save ourselves from the constant attacks from all sides. Next, I'll walk you through the terminology maze parents like me have to navigate and show you why, even after violence starts, kids still don't get diagnosed. This terminology maze is why I spent 2 years searching the wrong thing because nobody would just say psychopathy. This isn't just annoying. It doesn't just cause diagnostic delays during the most crucial time periods of a child's life. It's literally killing people. On today's edition of Alphabet Soup, it's time to go over just some of the terms parents like me might run into. Oppositional defiant disorder, ODD. That's for kids who are defiant and argumentative. You can't really call the police on someone with ODD. None of those symptoms are criminal offenses. The dividing line between ODD and conduct disorder is violence, regardless of age. Once they get violent, it becomes CD. Both ODD and CD fall under the disruptive behavior disorders, DBD, umbrella. 1 in 10 children have a DBD. Globally, parents have an average of 1.97 kids, so basically 2. That means 1 in 5 parents has a kid with a DBD. 1 in 5. Callous unemotional traits, CU traits, is what researchers call psychopathy in children. That's the academic language. Parents don't know to look for that. Antisocial personality disorder, ASPD. You can't get that diagnosis until you're 18, and you can only get it if you had conduct disorder before age 15. Well, theoretically anyway, even though Nicholas Cruz didn't. Hey, who actually reads the DSM anyway, let alone follows it? Psychopathy? Not even in the DSM. Sociopathy? Also not in the DSM. Different names at different life stages. Different terms depending on whether you're talking to a clinician, a researcher, a teacher, or reading the DSM. It's maddening. Ah! No wonder parents can't find information. We're all searching for different words to describe the same condition. Conduct disorder, CD. That's the diagnosis for kids who are violent, who destroy property, and who hurt people and animals. Everyone but the parents knows that CD equals future antisocial personality disorder. That's why, even after the violence starts, many kids still don't get diagnosed with CD. Nobody wants to put that in writing. Not even for kids like Nicholas Cruz, whose neighbors began being afraid of them at age 9. Nobody wants to doom a child to that future, as if diagnosing someone with something made it so. Because I totally never had asthma until a doctor told me I did. Nicholas Cruz threw his mother up against a wall, put a gun to his mother's head, put a gun to his brother's head. As near as I've been able to tell, and TikTok, please correct me if I'm wrong, he never graduated from an ODD diagnosis to a conduct disorder diagnosis, even though he clearly met the criteria. Remember I told you that socio means society? Society made them that way? You want to know what psychopathy actually means? The etymology? Psychopathy means suffering souls. Anywhere these kids and adults are, everyone suffers, including them. Whither they go, suffering souls abound. Yet, somehow, and you better believe I will be doing a series of videos later on how and why this happened, the diagnostic language has been dumbed down, prettied up, and made so vague as to be the medical equivalent of he who must not be named. You could call it Miss Priscilla Donkeyface for all I care. Changing the name won't change the condition one whit. We know this is biological. Brady et al. From UPenn published December 2023, Newborn Brain Function and Early Emerging Callous Unemotional Traits. The link is permanently in my bio. The different brain patterns seen in children with callous unemotional traits are present at birth, before any behaviors ever happen. The pattern in their brains is completely different from birth and stays static throughout the first 3 years of life. They're born this way. The first time I was worried something was different about my son, he was 5 months old. If someone had known back then and told me, our lives could have been so much easier, so much less painful. Those first several years of life are when we have the best opportunity to do the most good. This terminology problem isn't just annoying. It's not just inconvenient. It's literally killing people. The psychiatrist I told you about a few videos ago, she's dead. If she'd known earlier what she was dealing with, maybe she'd still be alive. Maybe her dream clinic could exist right now and might be helping families right now. Nicholas Cruz's mother called the police dozens of times trying to get help. She died before her son massacred 17 people. If she'd had the right terminology and resources early on, maybe no one would have died. Proper terminology is the day zero problem. Parents can't even start looking for help because nobody will tell us what we're looking for. We spend years, sometimes decades, searching for the wrong things. By the time we figure it out, the damage is typically done. Our health is destroyed. Our finances are gone. Our other children have been traumatized. And, of course, some of us die. This has to change. We need early screening before any of this starts, before parents spend years in the dark, before families are destroyed, before massacres happen. That's why we're organizing a strategy session to screen kids during the early intervention period, birth to before school, before we ever get thrown into the terminology maze. Parents can't lead this. We're too busy wandering in that terminology maze, lighting our resources on fire, playing the game of well people while not being well. We need researchers, teachers, pediatricians, grad students, healthy community members who have the time, energy, and health to make this happen. If you want to help, email Lisa at disordersofAggression.org. That's Lisa at disorders, DISORDERS of aggression, AGGRESSION.org. It's also in my bio. Not saying Voldemort's name doesn't make him go away. Refusing to use the word psychopathy doesn't make these kids stop existing. It just means parents wander lost in the maze while everything falls apart and people die. We don't got this. We can't got this. We don't got this. But you can actually do something about this.